And this, Chapter 2, Commander Yaknayold. Personal log, mid to late 22nd century. ET-W. After manning the warp for a couple hundred years, I'm just about warped enough. I'm almost hoping the experts who predicted the imminent demise of the anomaly are correct. This time, I'm almost ready to go back home on a more or less permanent basis. After all, each of my kids is now over 400 years old and may well have matured enough to make listening to their opinions bearable. My relationship with my current husband has really benefited from the light years between us, but I've finally decided that I really don't like him enough to continue living on this fledgling planet for the sake of the relationship. If our marriage can't endure persistent proximity, then our marriage will just have to cease. After all, life only began on this puppy of a planet maybe 3.8 billion years ago, so the interesting portions of higher development will be a long time in developing. Hell, 90% of the worldwide human population still thinks there may be life after death. I mean, god damn. And their greatest minds still believe that E really does equal MC squared, and that the implications of this relatively correct equation really hold true over truly long distances in more than a relatively meaningful reality. How ridiculous can ridiculous get? Einstein may have been the smartest human ever, but he was about the dumbest Zikbukian. Okay, maybe one of average intelligence. That's right, genius. He was a mix-up. He was a product of the probe. His dad was a real Zikbuker. His mom was a Plotzer from planet Plots, what you at the inferior end of the humanoid species call Earth, that gravitationally challenged orb rotating about the star we call Dreidel Dim, and you call the center of the universe. Idiots. Of course, the time warp is wicked cool, but it has to this point only operated in reverse, i.e. back and forth from the present, seeing as how we've already reached the real present experts figure. And possibly seeing as how Earth is so insignificant, in a word small. The potential of the mechanisms meaningful to time travel are limited by the latent momentum of the mediating mass, among many other factors. But even if the warp, along with the associated time-traveling apparati, remain viable, I'm still about ready to go home for a significant period greater than the 2 years we are on occasion permitted. Hell, after living so far away from anything resembling civilization for so long, I've developed myriad ways to manipulate my mood. I assume my husband has learned in my absence to wind his own watches with some proficiency as well, or to know when it's time to call in a technician. And luckily for both of us, we each were sequenced with all 3 sexual organs available at the time of our individual disseminations into the Holohive repository. We'll both be alright, whether we're each alone or not. He got, by the way, the oscillating anus, while I was equipped with the vice grip vagina. His vagina doesn't do much more than sit there and throb, but I must admit, his butt is bodacious. Good to know, by the way, if you've been fitted with only a size 6 penal probe, and by the way, please contact him if you have, and note that the model, i.e. anus he received, requires manual lubing. So, if you're the domineering type or petite, submissive, very cute, and extremely well-groomed, bring him some unscented DC-grade oil with antiseptic additive in case he's out. He goes, I know from scrutinizing his expenditures, which he's silly enough to put on his credit implant, through a bottle of that shit pretty fast, even with his wife most of the time 12 light years away. Fuck it. If he's happy, then he's not likely to worry about my desire to keep my own timepieces well lubricated and operating with optimal efficacy. That's a no-shitter. Hang on, it's gonna get even weirder. Blessed are the kinky, for they shall inherit easy and affordable access to the good shit. Yakna in Yiddish means a coarse woman. That's what I was reading that particular stanza there. Yold means a hick in Yiddish. ETW was referring to Earth Time West, as in the Wild West of America. Plots, that's how you actually spell it, and it means boist, also in Yiddish. Random rat number 2. I'm too old to fight. Fair, I'll hit you with a chair. I'll wound you very badly while random people stop and stare. Or I'll check for hidden cameras, then I'll key your brand new car, because a judge will only allow a man to go just so darned far. I'd prefer to look you in the eye and hit you in the teeth, but I'd rather not beg for lubrication from the judge I end up beneath. As my youngest child, Hector Highland, at, incidentally, some Indian ruin near Jemez, New Mexico. Alrighty then, a briefish bio. I lived for 28 years in Massachusetts. Ashland, first AHS class of 1979. Suicidal senior year, discovering that the God I sincerely believed in is clearly man-made and that hormones are a motherfucker. I refused to participate in my studies, plummeting from being ranked 4th academically in my class to being ranked 7th. Such a disgrace. I subsequently relinquished my full ROTC scholarship to study pre-med at Holy Cross College in Worcester. After 3 days in the U.S. Air Force, I received my honorable discharge, a record one wonders. Then I lived in Amherst, Massachusetts, going to UMass, receiving a BA in English and Journalism in 1984, cum laude minor in alcohol and psychedelics, pornographic pursuits, extracurricular. Shortly after graduating, I copyrighted my first papers on my more down-to-earth understanding of what Earth scientists have dramatically seen as representing reality here and abroad. Education and revelation, with the assistance of inspirational intoxication in the form of cannabis-fueled stimulation, is a wondrous thing, and quite painful. I then lived in Berlin, Mass., where I was a dealer and decidedly not dilatory doer of dope. Post-grad studies in cocaine, whiskey chaser, graduated groping at the biker bar. Freebasing and burglary were featured components of this portion of my higher education. Before the cartels started to provide crack for retail sale, we aficionados of the livelier leaf made our own. Worcester and Maynard locations in which I lived pursuant to not being pursued. After fleeing prosecution in my home state, I lived for 28 years in Arlington, Texas, occupying space and time in various apartments and menial occupations, culminating in a menial job driving big trucks across the state and region and or the nation. I worked throughout the South and from coast to coast and border to border. I met a Samoan woman in Compton, California, of all places for a white man to be, and brought her back to Texas after barely surviving the LA riots. I am quite noticeably, it became very apparent in those days of dark destruction, a person particularly pale. My frank portrayal of a white man caught in that zone of burning hatred and, yes, misguided malevolence, unmasked, was entirely ignored by those who hadn't experienced the phenomenon from inside the belly of a very black and bellicose beast indeed. I have always, okay, usually, as have I, talked it, walked it, the truth I write in black and white, a gray matter bigger than any single political party has yet to read with any noticeable degree of clarity. I don't kiss anyone's ass unless I'm wicked high. I purchased a home circa 2000 with a down payment made possible from the proceeds of a suit filed on my behalf after a driver under the influence of evil substances, no doubt provided by some nefarious character or rude establishment, crashed his vehicle into mine, thus minorly injuring this individual, i.e. me, and enriching to some small degree my tortuous, temporal, and truthfully trivial existence. I then worked my ass off, literally, it has all but disappeared, to pay for that home and the many expenditures of modern life. I could no longer afford the good stuff, las drogas. My wife and children desired to be clothed and fed on a very regular basis. Last year, 2018, I left my adult children, Matthew Malua and Jason Weitz, in Texas, and moved with my wife, not the mother of my 2 adult sons, along with our now 10-year-old son Hector Highland Weitz, to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I, as well as my wife, work what little is left of our respective asses off to pay for a luxury apartment, 2 leased cars, an aging Harley, and the many, many other items required to feel fulfilled in the 21st century. Listening to unabridged audiobooks, including classic literature, modern literature, sci-fi, and works of non-fiction while I drive the truck sustains me. I've written much and published very little over the years, including this little book among the craziest of the crazy shit I've created. Soon I will die. Francis Scott Weitz. Revealed within the pages of this very book are alien insights into human planetary and universal evolution that will blow your mind and impress the earthbound scientists who currently study such phenomena? Not at all. God was created in man's image. That's why he is so hateful and violent. Get it and get over it. Timewarped is cleave your head into cutting-edge artistry and entertainment, commentary and contextual criticism of the contemporary craft of confabulation. Dare to deviate from the same old shit. Okay, chapter number 3. He who talks to horses in the imaginary rain, circa 1900 A.D. Gallup, New Mexico, from the files of Sergeant Schnooky Stoop, mid-23rd century ETW. A good medicine man, if a member of a tribe situated in the southwest of what is currently known by the occupying authority as the United States of America, will wait for the appearance of clouds in the sky south and west of his position, and he will wait until the wind from that direction blows before he begins the rain dance. He will, where warfare is concerned, study the warriors and the weapons, and he will know the enemy before the prophecy, which augurs ill or foretells glorious victory, is imagined and is then revealed. The great Father from beyond the sky and from within the earth, whether the native original or that of the original usurpers, the Spanish, will favor those who are of his favor worthy. This may mean much, or, of course, almost nothing. You will decide. And, of course, a knowledge of history, too, may bring one proximate to prescience, i.e. make a man look like he's wicked smart, if the signs spoken of by the old ones are once more written upon the smooth face of the red mountain that weeps for the people and for the tribulations to come that always these tears portend. The man once of medicine, but known now to be a fool for the false prophecy, which contributed to the humiliating defeat of several quite patriotic, if almost entirely gullible braves, stood among the droppings. He sang to only the horses, tied at the windward side of the encampment. For no reasonable man listens to a fool, and what woman would listen to a fat man with no horses of his own, a man rumored to have such a small Hogan? The once medicine man sounded to me almost joyful as he, in his magical mind, mashed the mushy horse turds with his lonely dance, and shook his soggy snake-skinned rattles atop clubs curved with images unseen for many, many cycles of the sun at a demented sky. The substantial wind made him all but inaudible. The only reason, if truth be known, he was heard at all. Horses are intrigued by that which is difficult to process, to comprehend, which, if you are familiar with horses, you will know represents a good deal of the occurrences that are to most men known. Horses are not, though they may be fast, too swift. Beneath a crazy sky, I sing to the horses that are nosy. They do not remember stories of our past. But I see the red rock crying, and I know now what this means, because my grandfather drank a lot and made me listen to his stories. And he rode upon my back with a lash of woven cottonwood. Grandmother took a sandal to my head, because if I could not recite Granddad's nonsensical words the following day, he'd make her listen the next time he had whiskey. The terrible tribulations are coming with the strange clouds that hold no rain and flood our lives with sorrow, only sorrow. Soon you will all wish you had listened to my words, because the horses cannot speak in a language that is comprehensible to the people. It sounds better and makes a little, though not a lot more sense in the language of these people. Mine, i.e. ours, to you, of course, theirs, is more utilitarian than lyrical, as you may perceive and possibly even begin to understand if you're wise enough to know that reading quickly is for those who are not truly interested in learning, or more aptly, who want to learn so much that they end up learning in their haste little. And when at last he, the maybe medicine man, opened his eyes, the light leaving his mind, the setting sun, revealing only what is for all present, to his knees he returned. His desert heart heavy with the loss of vision, no love for lunacy left, the link to all and to no one closed. Once more he wept. A pathway to clarity, known for a time to the man, was forgotten once more. Sobbing, screaming on the dry and dusty dung heap, he returned to the anonymous reality of the tribe, no longer linked to its tangible soul, the knowing glint gone from every eye, as behind his own they had existed in the sun-streaked faces of his neighbors. For each did fall his pointless tears. The people dreamed of nothing but the sky. They could not see him, and so his vision of them altered, blurred, faded. No rain from an empty sky will fall for those without the magic to see it. Awake or asleep, the people dreamed of nothing but the sky. It was too painful now to touch his, the maybe medicine man's, overwrought mind. I retreated to the more mathematical musings of my own. How strange that a state of mind so real, so powerful, can be in a moment displaced, all but in the instance unknown. And yet I do, if vaguely remember, and so cannot dismiss entirely the feelings of this fool as folly. But I have long been engaging my own limitations, more empathetic to the limitations of others than are my fellows. I too have been a fool. And as a fool I will again expose myself to states too strange to be by a wise man sustained. For now will I sleep. Sleep. He talks to horses in the imaginary rain, medicine. My mind have I projected above the world in which I walk. With my spirit mind have I touched the souls of my people, have I watched them from beyond myself. It is true the plants have me lifted up. They have given me the power to move deeply, to see wide. They tore away from me the beauty in which, as a child, I walked. You believe this is wrong, but you do not understand. I lay in this pile of dung, dazed now, and even drunk a little. This is the sacrifice I have made. I hang my visible self, my body, upon the cutting pole. I disappear into the pipe. For all will I make of myself that broken man upon the ground of shit. My mind soars. And you will feel my power. In these words will you feel my power, if power you are capable of feeling. Some may join me on the ground, exposed, and within the strange cloud you will know. For now am I here. For you, for us, for me, for all have I fallen into this sky. See me, my people, for only when you see me may I carry this little piece of bright sky, the sky above us, this little brilliant piece of the sky that with my green eyes have I from the heavens stolen to all here below. My words cannot carry you, they are heavy, they are a burden. Open your eyes and let me by this light see inside you. Show that which is in me. Shine that you may know me, for you have I burned. Open for me yourself, your mind. Open your heart to this beautiful vision of pain. Bear yourself to me, and with these words will I love you. Then in the present, as in the past, now I will do what must be done. I will rise. Schnook in Yiddish is adult, a boob. Shtup is a taboo word for humping. Hogan is a Navajo hut or house. Random rant number 3. Trump colluded with the Russians to fix our election. Then fired the guy investigating him. Then hired another guy who agreed beforehand to find him not guilty. He's a blowhard and a buffoon. Dump Trump. Oh, wait a minute. Then the religious Yahoo Pence would take over, and he would love to precipitate Armageddon so that the Lord might come back and send all who don't believe exactly what he believes to be tortured in perpetuity, while the South, not of Israel but of America, rises to rule a righteous planet devoid of intelligent life. Never mind, Trump's not so bad. Judge the Judgmental. This book is dedicated to my wife, Estela Fernandez Weitz, the joy and foundation of my life, and that of our son, Hector Highland Weitz. Para este vuelo es el cielo. Don't divorce me, it's just a book. For this flight is she the sky, is what that means. It's a couplet I wrote for her years ago and had tattooed on my arm, and there's my sweetie in her current state of being. Timewarped chapter number 4. Truckers 2, number 1. Early 21st century. CE. Western New Mexico. Breaker 19, can I get a 1036? We don't do that breaker shit anymore, driver. Just jump in when you can. Time is 1,300 hours and 10 minutes. Thank you. Anyone know where I can achieve a close encounter of the third kind out here in Gallup? Sound like maybe you're looking for a close encounter of the behind and not the third kind. You're looking for an encounter of a backdoor nature, sweetie. Hell, Tin Man, it's the 21st century. That kind of encounter is legal now. So if this dude wants to volunteer for the probe, I reckon that's his business. You don't have to get ugly even if you're incapable of getting pretty. Sound like you might be half a fag yourself there, hotshot. Well, I have my moments, T, but I'm not usually attracted, oddly enough, to other homosexuals, so you're safe. Generally, I like a semi-abusive, quasi-domineering type. Of course, you shave them legs, put your hair up in pigtails, and get you a pretty little skirt. I might take a poke at you. You catch me in the right mood. I could have gone my whole life without hearing all that. You know, they say homophobes are actually the guys with the most pronounced, if latent, homosexual tendencies. My friend, I never once thought of penis as the other white meat. And I ain't about to start now. Yep, he's queer. What'd you say his handle was, Tin Man? Maybe you ought to call him $3 Bill. Maybe I ought to call you an ambulance boy, 'cause you about to piss me off. Now both you faggots need to quit. I've heard quite enough of the bunghole banner for one day. Shit, bitch, that CB's got an off switch. Just mash down on it and you are free, my freaky little friend. What's your handle, boy? Hey, you, the kid with the desire for a little space exploration. What's your handle? Oh, me? Yeah, it's the Swallow. I knew it. He's a damn pinko. Let him be, Tin Man. At least he's got the guts to admit it. You know, in a world that's still fairly steeped in bullying and blockheadedness, outside of the maybe too politically corrected mainstream media, I believe it takes serious balls for a man to suck a dick. I say it's a choice and I choose no. Ha! So you admit it, you half-a-hog smoking motherfucker. I admit shit, you pole-working prick polisher. I say if this dude has the guts to come right out in public and announce his intention to seek a close encounter of the kinky kind, then we ought to help his punk ass out. I say hold him down and beat the piss out of him. Now you see, that's just ignorant. I had no idea your latent tendencies were that strong. I highly recommend you go get yourself laid before you lose all touch with your intellectual sensibilities. Fuck you. Well, there you go. You're making progress. Just turn that you into a me and you're halfway home, boy. You mean halfway homo. Now you're getting it, sunshine. Hey, Swallow, you probably ought to seek the advice of the native population here in Gallup if you're looking for a genuine probing. From what I hear, the Navajos have a special relationship with the little green man. Of course, it could all be bullshit, but one never knows. Anyway, there's a real effeminate Indian guy who works at the Love's truck stop off of exit number 16 on the north side of the highway. If anyone knows about the potentialities of probing here in Gallup, I'd bet on him. Might not talk to you, you being a pale face and all, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or some form of lubrication. Huh? Okay, I'll check him out, hotshot. Thank you. Don't mention it, kid, to anyone. I might go from hotshot to plane shot if all these meatheads out here find out I'm smarter than the average truck driver. Far too many homophobes out here. Ain't that right, Tin Man? Fuck you. Hey, I'd say blow me, but I don't want to get you excited. We gone. No shit, it's gonna get even more real. The author. Random rant number 4. Bully all bullies. I've done it often. Glare into their eyes. They hate a man who will fight back hard despite their impressive size. Let the anger and the fear drive you madly. Let that balled up fist be your directive. The last big bad asshole who came at me Get up off the sidewalk with a whole new perspective. No shit, really. Of course, I broke one of my fingers on his freaking jaw, so I guess we both lost. Oh well, it ain't always easy to be wild and free. You may not want to tell some random biker that you just shaved your bunghole from him. Take it from me. Sexting provides needed visual input. Can you handle it? I don't know. Let me see it first. Timewarped, chapter number 5. An old man, now. Pictures on paper are the mountains in the mist, in the distance, in flowing formation one upon the next to the sky, and the clouds clustered beyond. Above the majesty, proximate to power, they are clever. They are dynamic. They are destruction. A long, seething conflict between earth and sky, between permanence and peril. The sun, the water would rend with life-giving sustenance and tear to jagged and gigantic pieces the world. Beneath a light, a heat, vital and inexorable, lies that which is death and is dying, and all is all, and everything is needed, is need. And below all abide. Lazily beneath that sun, on the hard earth we abide, thorny lizards in wait for life forms more vulnerable. One eye to the heavens, we watch in dread of that piercing cry which will portend for us an end. When are we made sacrifice to time and talon, to tarry no longer in hunger and in thirst, in contemplation of knowledge beyond our grasp and groping grip? My skin is desiccated, my back is bowed, and nothing do I blame upon the sky. But will I wait not for a passage to paradise or in fear of falling? I have with my eyes open lived, and so will I die. Until then, disturb me not with your vices and with your visions. All can see what can be seen, if see they will. I have done what I would. I am done with it, and with waiting, and with racing onward to catch an aging sun. Please yourself in parting from a fool. This I will you allow, I would speak no more of departing. I must but abide, here and now for a time, a short time, more upon the desert sands, to behold the mountains in the mists of the morning air. To the sun would I bear witness, with the moon will I beyond the mountain abide. Breathe, breathe. Random rant number 5. I too inhaled. I miss Obama as much as one can miss a politician. And the truth is neither black nor is it white. The truth is Mexican. So there. The ends do not justify the means.